You ever walk into a room where the laughter's so sharp it could cut glass and you just know every single pair of eyes is already on you before you've even said a word? That's what it felt like the day I walked into the officers' club at Fort Braxton. That ancient smell of whiskey and leather, the kind of place where the walls themselves feel like they're judging you. Colonel Marcus Steele was planted in his leather chair like a king on a throne, his boots up, blue eyes just daring me to speak. And there I was, 12 years old, all arms and legs and nerves, my father's Medal of Honor pinned so heavy to my chest it felt like a dare all by itself. I was holding this old yellow envelope, knuckles white, trying to remember every word my dad had ever told me about standing tall in front of people who want to see you fall. "Are you serious, girl?" That was the first thing out of Steele's mouth. And you know what? Every officer around that table started laughing like he'd just told the best joke in the world. I looked up, swallowed hard, but didn't move. "Sir, I'd like permission to use the firing range today," I said, just like I'd practiced in the mirror voice, steady, even as my hands trembled. 3rd anniversary of my dad's death. Sergeant David Johnson, if you're wondering. I wanted to honor him the only way I knew how, by shooting just like he'd taught me every Saturday afternoon before he left for his last mission. Steele slammed his palm down so hard that the glasses shook. "Did you hear that the girl thinks she knows how to shoot?" He was grinning so wide I could see the gold crown on his molar. Someone else piped up, "What's next?" "She'll want to fly our jets," and the whole table lost it again. Major Thompson muttered something about dolls, Captain Williams, about little girls belonging in school, and suddenly all their eyes were fixed on me like I was a stray cat who'd wandered into a steakhouse. But what they didn't know was this: my father, David Johnson, was more than just a soldier. He was the best shot on that base, unofficially anyway. Every Saturday, every Sunday after school, when the world felt like it was closing in, my dad would hand me a pistol and tell me, "Focus, Maya. Breathe. Find the silence between your heartbeats." I'd promised him at his grave under that damn flag that I'd keep going no matter who tried to stop me. Steele got up then, looming over me like a thundercloud. "This is no place for kids to play soldier. Go home, watch cartoons, let the adults handle real business." My cheeks burned. I felt every eye in the room waiting for me to crack, but instead I took a breath and said, "With all due respect, sir, I have the paperwork. Family affairs approved, security cleared, and it's within base regulations." That got a laugh from Peterson and a few uncomfortable glances, maybe for the first time they were realizing this wasn't going to go the way they'd planned. Steele narrowed his eyes. "Stubborn little girl. Fine. Hit 3 out of 10 at 50 meters, I'll sign your paper. But if you fail, you never bother us again." "Got it, I accept, sir." And with that, the deal was struck. Only what they didn't realize, what none of them realized, was that I wasn't just there to shoot for my dad. I was there to turn every ounce of humiliation they dished out into the most unforgettable demonstration that base had ever seen. We headed to the range, a whole parade of officers whispering behind my back bets on how fast I'd cry, if I'd even be able to hold the gun. Thing is, I'd already been there 100 times before sneaking in at dawn with a maintenance vet who used to serve with my dad. That place was more familiar to me than my own living room. Steele waved at the table of guns. "Pick your weapon of humiliation." I chose the Glock 19, the same one Dad started me on when I was 7. "Interesting choice," Steele smirked. "At least you'll fail in style." Sergeant Rodriguez, the base's shooting instructor and an old friend of Dad's, tried to step in. "Colonel, maybe we should." But Steele cut him off. "No coddling. She wants to play soldier, let her learn." I went through my checks, mag out chamber, clear, trigger squeeze, all muscle memory by now. Rodriguez looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. Steele kept on needling. "Looks like Daddy taught you some tricks before he left." That one stung, but I let it slide. Instead, I closed my eyes, found that quiet place my dad always talked about. And when I opened them, even the guys laughing at me seemed to sense something had shifted. Steele barked, 10 shots, 50 meters. You only need 3. The officers clustered behind him, smug and certain. But what they didn't know, Dad had trained every sniper on that base at some point. And I'd spent 847 hours. Yeah, I counted honing every single lesson, every taunt, every snicker, every sideways glance. They were just fuel. I stepped up. For a second, the wind stopped. Every sound, every whisper faded. Dad's voice in my ear. Take a breath, Maya. Wait for the silence between heartbeats. I squeezed the trigger. 1, 2, 3 shots rang out crisp and fast, and the laughter faded into this weird, uneasy quiet. Rodriguez looked through his binoculars and his mouth dropped open. She's better than her father, he whispered. Steele's face changed then, just a flicker. That's when the mood shifted. You could feel it, a storm coming. 4, 5, 6, each shot landing with that metallic ping you only get from a bullseye. The officers stopped whispering. 7, 8, 9, absolute silence. The last shot I adjusted for wind just like Dad showed me. Pulled the trigger, click. Then I lowered the Glock safe and calm and turned to Steele. All 10 shots complete, sir. Rodriguez checked the target, face pale. Steele's hands were shaking now as he grabbed the binoculars. What he saw, 10 shots, one ragged hole in the dead center. Impossible, he muttered. Check again. Major Thompson snatched the binoculars, reeled back like he'd been punched. That cluster's better than anything I've seen in 20 years. One by one, every officer checked and every face went white. Then Rodriguez stepped up, voice loud. Miss Johnson, your father would be the proudest man alive. You've set a new standard for this entire base. Steele went dead quiet. He'd mocked the daughter of a war hero, and now half the base was watching some snapping photos, whispers already spreading. The colonel who got schooled by a grieving kid. How he finally croaked. How can a kid shoot like that? I looked him right in the eyes. My father taught me respect's earned, not given. When you're doubted because of who you are, you show them exactly what you can do. I didn't say it to be cruel, just honest. Rodriguez, who always had my back, piped up. Would you be interested in trying longer distances? Maya, 100, 200 meters? My eyes lit up. Set them up, Sergeant. You could see the dread on Steele's face. The humiliation was just starting. More soldiers showed up, drawn by the buzz. I shot 200, then 300, 400, 500 meters, each time tighter clusters, even hitting a coin at half a kilometer. By the time I was done, the range was packed, veterans crying, officers looking at me like they'd seen a miracle. Someone filmed it. That video went viral, 47 million views in 2 weeks. Little girl shames racist colonel read the headlines. The fallout was brutal. Steele was demoted, shipped off to Alaska, working under officers he'd once sneered at. Major Thompson and Captain Williams got official reprimands. Their careers basically tanked. The military changed policies, opened new programs for kids like me. And me, I got a gold badge, junior precision marksman instructor at 13, the youngest ever. The shooting range was renamed for my dad with a bronze plaque telling the story. Letters poured in from kids all over the country, especially black girls, saying they saw themselves in me, saying they'd never let anyone tell them what they couldn't do again. I kept training. Rodriguez became my mentor. Every Saturday I'd visit my dad's grave, but now instead of crying, I'd tell him about my week, about the new records, about the lives I'd changed. I did it, Dad. I showed them. The base itself changed, zero tolerance for discrimination, talent searches, and poor communities. My story told in every leadership seminar. And you know what's funny? Steele, the guy who tried to put me in my place, ended up being the reason I got to shine. 6 months later, in a TV interview, someone asked if I hated him. I said, he gave me a gift, the chance to prove him wrong. Sometimes your greatest opponents become your best teachers, even if they don't mean to. That's the lesson I learned. The best revenge isn't making someone else small. It's growing so big they can't ignore you. I took every ounce of humiliation, every stereotype, every laugh, and turned them into something nobody could deny. Now let me ask you, who do you think was right that day? The man who said a little black girl couldn't shoot, or the girl who showed up and rewrote the rules for everybody? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you stand on justice, respect, and who really gets to decide what's possible in this world.
Mạng xã hội, tìm hiểu những video.
Vamos supor, você falou negócio sério. It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're on the fence.